The Young and the Restless spoilers shock Audra's descent into the web of deception. Victor Newman's manipulative scheme. In the latest turn of events in The Young and the Restless, Audra has found herself at a crossroads, caught between her unhealed wounds and the dangerous manipulation of Victor Newman. Her journey is one marked by betrayal, pride, and the looming influence of one of Genoa City's most powerful figures. The wound of pride is one of the 7 deadly sins, and in Audra's case, it has become a driving force in her actions. It's not just pride in her own achievements, but rather the sting of betrayal that Kyle Abbott inflicted on her. She had fallen for him, deeply so, but when he coldly pushed her aside, Audra was left heartbroken and bitter. The emotional wound left by Kyle's rejection ran deeper than mere hurt feelings. Audra's pride had been wounded in the worst possible way. She had invested her heart in a relationship that was discarded without a second thought. At the time, she didn't fully disclose the depth of her emotions. Instead, she played it cool, suppressing the real feelings that had taken root inside her. Yet, the hurt festered beneath the surface, a constant reminder of the love she had lost, and the cold indifference with which it had been rejected. Victor's exploitation of Audra's pain. Victor Newman, ever the master manipulator, quickly recognized Audra's vulnerability. He could sense her bitterness and the rawness of her unresolved feelings, and he wasted no time in exploiting them for his own gain. In his latest move, Victor sees an opportunity to leverage her pain to further his own agenda. Victor has always known that people's emotions are powerful tools, and in this case, he knows exactly how to use Audra's heartbreak to his advantage. He offers her a deal, in exchange for a job at Newman Enterprises. An opportunity that promises to propel her career forward. Audra must feign romantic interest in Kyle Abbott, the man who had hurt her. The job at Newman Enterprises seems like a dream come true, but the price she must pay is steep. Audra must swallow her pride and manipulate Kyle, pretending to pursue him to get closer to him, all under Victor's watchful eye. It's an opportunity that Audra cannot ignore, and though she struggles with the idea of deceiving Kyle, the prospect of advancing in her career is too tempting to pass up. She is trapped in a dangerous game of manipulation, with Victor pulling the strings and her emotions tangled in a web of deceit. Kyle's complicated relationships. Claire and Summer. Kyle Abbott's relationships with women have always been complicated, and now, his romantic entanglements are playing a pivotal role in Victor's larger scheme. After the infamous Glissade disaster, Kyle moved on from Audra and found solace in the arms of Claire Newman, a new love interest who has stirred the pot in Genoa City. To Audra, Claire is just another woman in a long line of people vying for Kyle's affection, an extension of Summer Newman, Kyle's wife and cousin, both of whom Audra has placed in the same category of women who have managed to gain Kyle's attention. Audra can't help but compare herself to these women, particularly Claire, who has so easily slipped into Kyle's life. For Audra, it is yet another painful reminder that Kyle has moved on from her with no regard for her feelings. In her mind, Claire's entry into Kyle's world is a betrayal in its own right. Audra feels overlooked, discarded, and now she's being asked to betray herself further by pretending to want the very man who rejected her. As she plays her part in Victor's scheme, Audra's inner turmoil grows. She is forced to confront the fact that, despite the bitterness she feels toward Kyle, she is still emotionally entangled in him. It's clear that she hasn't fully moved on, and pretending to be interested in him again only serves to reopen old wounds. This duplicity becomes more than just a professional transaction, it becomes a test of Audra's emotional resilience. Victor Newman's bigger plan. For Victor Newman, this entire situation is just a cog in a much larger wheel. His ultimate target is Jack Abbott, and he is determined to bring down Jabot Enterprises, the company that has been a long-standing thorn in the side of Newman Enterprises. But for Victor, the destruction of Jabot isn't just about business, it's personal. Jack Abbott represents everything that Victor despises: a rival, a competitor, and someone who has thwarted his plans for decades. Victor knows that to break Jack Abbott, he must first dismantle the people around him. Kyle, as Jack's son, is an important part of that equation. By using Audra to hurt Kyle emotionally, Victor believes he can weaken him, making him more susceptible to further manipulation. He also knows that Kyle's relationship with his family is fraught with tension, and by exploiting Audra's emotional wounds, he can drive a wedge between Kyle and those closest to him. In Victor's mind, the chaos that will inevitably follow this manipulation is simply collateral damage. He is willing to sacrifice any personal relationships, including his own son Adam's, in order to achieve his goal. The end justifies the means for Victor, and he is prepared to use anyone, including Audra, as a pawn in his game. Audra's dilemma: power or self-respect? As Audra navigates the tangled web of manipulation, she faces a critical decision. On one hand, she is offered power, career advancement, and a promising future with Newman Enterprises. On the other hand, she risks losing herself in the process. Her pride has already been wounded, and now, by pretending to want Kyle, she is being asked to further compromise her self-respect and dignity. Audra's journey is one of internal conflict. Will she succumb to Victor's manipulation and allow her emotions to be used for his benefit, or will she find a way to break free of his grip and take control of her own destiny? As she continues to play the part of the woman who desires Kyle, Audra may find herself in a deeper emotional hole than she ever anticipated. Her pain may fuel her actions, but it could also blind her to the consequences of her choices. In the end, Audra must decide whether she will be a pawn in Victor Newman's game or if she will carve out her own path, one that leads her away from deceit and toward a more authentic life. The road ahead as the drama unfolds, it's clear that Victor Newman's machinations will continue to have a far-reaching impact on everyone in Genoa City. For Audra, this will be a critical moment in her life, a chance to rise above her wounds and take control of her own fate. However, whether she can rise from the ashes of her betrayal and find a sense of peace or whether she will spiral deeper into Victor's web of manipulation remains to be seen. One thing is for sure, in the world of the young and the restless, no one is ever truly free from the tangled webs of deceit, and Audra's story is far from over. The question is, will she emerge stronger, or will she be swallowed by the very same forces that caused her pain in the first place? Audra's struggle, a tale of ambition, betrayal, and the pursuit of power. Audra's story in The Young and the Restless is a complex web of ambition, frustration, and raw emotion. After losing her job and facing significant setbacks, Audra is at a crossroads in her life. Her career, once full of promise, has hit a wall, and she is left grappling with the reality of what it means to rebuild from the ground up. Despite the trials she has faced, Audra has not given up. She remains determined to take the next step in her professional journey, though the road ahead is fraught with challenges and heartache. Unfulfilled dreams and a failed partnership. Audra's initial attempts at forging a successful career in Genoa City were tied to a business relationship with Tucker McCall. Unfortunately, this partnership proved to be an ill-fated one. Tucker, with all his ambition and influence, was not able to offer the stability or the growth that Audra had hoped for. What started as a promising professional relationship quickly devolved into a combination of personal and business interactions that led to nothing substantial for Audra. She found herself in a position where her professional ambitions were compromised by the dynamics of a partnership that ultimately didn't meet her expectations. The tension between the business and personal aspects of her relationship with Tucker only grew, and it became clear that this was not the environment in which Audra could thrive. Her association with him, while once seen as an opportunity, ultimately led to disappointment, and she was forced to leave Genoa City, marking the end of an era. Audra's departure from the town symbolized not just the end of her relationship with Tucker, but also a period of instability in her career, a setback that left her with more questions than answers about her future. The ill-fated romance with Kyle Abbott. In addition to her professional setbacks, Audra also endured emotional turmoil in her brief relationship with Kyle Abbott. The romance was fleeting, marked by unreciprocated feelings and heartache. Kyle, who had never truly loved her, used her as a temporary distraction, leaving Audra feeling betrayed and rejected. This love affair, which Audra once hoped would blossom into something meaningful, instead became a bitter reminder of her vulnerabilities. Kyle's indifference toward her, his refusal to acknowledge the depth of her feelings, left Audra with a deep sense of resentment. What had started as a passionate fling ended in emotional devastation, and Audra couldn't shake the feeling that she had been discarded by someone who never truly cared for her. In many ways, Audra's brief time with Kyle became an emotional catalyst for her. It drove her to a place of bitterness, where the sting of rejection became intertwined with her deeper insecurities. This emotional wound, combined with her sense of professional failure, fueled her growing sense of anger and frustration. But what was most painful for Audra was not just the lost love. It was the realization that, despite her best efforts, Kyle had never truly loved her. For someone like Audra, who had poured herself into the relationship, this realization was devastating. Audra's battle with the deadly sin of wrath, the intense emotional pain Audra felt after her failed romance with Kyle, quickly turned into something darker: wrath, one of the 7 deadly sins. She felt an overwhelming urge for revenge, to make Kyle pay for the pain he had caused her. This anger wasn't just about the relationship itself, it was about everything she had lost and everything she had failed to achieve. The sting of rejection by Kyle, combined with her professional failures, created a powerful sense of resentment that consumed her. Audra's wrath is also amplified by a growing sense of unfairness. She sees Kyle as someone who has always had everything handed to him, while she has struggled to make her mark in Genoa City. The combination of privilege and indifference that she perceives in Kyle further fuels her anger. The disparity between her own hardships and Kyle's seemingly easy life becomes a focal point of her bitterness. But what makes Audra's wrath even more dangerous is the way it shapes her decisions. It pushes her to seek revenge not just on Kyle, but on the world that has never given her the opportunities she feels she deserves. Her anger makes her question whether everything she's done to climb the ladder of success has been worth it, especially when people like Kyle seem to get everything with minimal effort. The temptation of greed. As Audra's emotional and professional life continues to spiral, she is also confronted with another deadly sin: greed. Although Kyle is not motivated by greed in the same way that Audra perceives, she cannot help but compare herself to him. In her mind, he is someone who has been born into wealth and privilege, while she has fought tooth and nail to get where she is. This sense of inequality fuels her desire for more power, more success, more recognition. Her frustration is compounded by the fact that Kyle's life seems so effortless. He has the career, the family connections, and the respect that Audra covets. In contrast, Audra's own ambitions have been met with roadblocks and failures. This sense of injustice gives way to a growing sense of greed, not just for material wealth, but for validation and recognition. She wants to prove herself, to show everyone, including Kyle, that she is worthy of respect and admiration. But Audra's greed isn't just about accumulating wealth or status, it's about the desire to be seen as more than just a woman who has been discarded and rejected. She wants to make a name for herself, even if it means resorting to manipulation and deceit. The hunger for power and influence begins to override her moral compass, and she becomes more willing to sacrifice her own integrity in the pursuit of her goals. The growing role of Victor Newman. In her darkest moments, Audra is drawn to Victor Newman, the master manipulator who sees potential in her to further his own schemes. Victor's influence on Audra is a significant turning point. While she has always been ambitious, it's through Victor's eyes that she sees the opportunity for redemption. However, Victor's manipulation of Audra will only lead her further down a dangerous path. Victor sees in Audra a tool, someone who can help him weaken his enemies and expand his empire. He encourages her to use her anger and greed to her advantage, setting her up to play dangerous games with Kyle Abbott. In return, Victor promises her the career she's always dreamed of, a position at Newman Enterprises that will give her the power she so desperately craves. But at what cost? The road ahead for Audra's journey in The Young and the Restless is one of self-discovery and personal conflict. Torn between her pride, wrath, and greed, she must decide whether to continue down a path of manipulation and deceit or whether to rise above the sins that have consumed her. As she faces her past failures and struggles with her desire for revenge, Audra's decisions will have far-reaching consequences for not just her career, but her future relationships and her own sense of identity. In the end, Audra must confront the reality that no amount of wealth, power, or revenge will fill the emptiness she feels inside. Only by confronting her own flaws and choosing a path of integrity can she hope to find peace and success on her terms. Whether or not she will make that choice remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: Audra's story is far from over, and the stakes are higher than ever before.